Live, where news comes first. This is WECT News.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Frances Weller. WECT investigates allegations of voter misconduct in Brunswick County. And Brunswick County is not alone. The North Carolina State Board of Elections says they're investigating allegations in 7 different counties. WECT's Connor Smith joins us now with the details on this probe. Connor, what are the state officials looking into?
Fran, there's 3 different kinds of complaints here. People going door to door, falsely identifying themselves as election workers, others telling voters they have to re-register to vote, which just isn't true, and people submitting voter registration applications with inaccurate information. Now, Brunswick County Elections Director Sarah Levere tells me the complaints in Brunswick County are related to that last point. Voter registration applications were turned into them with missing information or wrong information, like incorrect birthdays or names. Levere says these complaints go back to 2024, and they've had some reported just within the last month. Jason Tyson with the State Elections Board says they've gotten dozens of complaints from Brunswick County in the last year.
Obviously, there's taking a case on a case-by-case basis for the individual complaints, but there is a lot of group activity out there that we're looking into.
Tyson says they're getting more complaints now that we're getting closer to the primary election. In-person early voting started yesterday, and Election Day is March 3rd. He says their investigations could stretch past that date. Fran?
So, Connor, what comes next with the investigations?
Yeah, Tyson says there's no strict deadline. Each complaint is looked into separately, and once the investigation is done, the board could refer the complaint to prosecutors or even the SBI if there are statewide problems.
Oh, all right. Thanks so much.